Hello, my name is Hasib Ullah. I'm a tax accountant with MHU Financial Services, where we have been serving clients for over 13 years. One of the most frequent questions that we get asked every year is why is my refund so low? How come I'm not getting a refund this year? Or why do I have to pay income tax? So I just thought I would make a short video describing how or when you need to pay taxes, how you can reduce those tax that you would have to pay at the end of the year, and also how you can reduce your taxable income to pay as less taxes as possible to the government. Um, it is true that a lot of credits has disappeared in the last few years, especially after the Trudeau government was sworn in, namely children fitness tax credit, children arts tax credit, there is transit passes credit, renovation tax credit, caregiver tax credit for taking care of parents who are over the age of 65. The federal credit is gone, it has disappeared, but the provincial credit is still there. And but those are not the reason why you would have to pay taxes to the government. Those would have been a reason why your refund was higher. Now your refund is less because those credits has disappeared. There are only a few credits left that we can claim. But that is not the reason why you end up paying taxes. If you have one job, no deduction to claim, you wouldn't be looking at paying taxes because your employer should be deducting the right amount of taxes. The problem is when you have two jobs or when you switch from one job to the other in the middle of the year, or you go on EI. This year we're going to be looking at CERB benefits, CRB benefits, EI. People who have got those benefits this year will be looking at paying taxes, and it could be as high as 32%, as low as 25%, because no taxes was deducted on the CERB benefit that was paid out. The CRB benefits only deducts 10% taxes, but you would be on a 25% tax rate. So the difference, the 15%, in case you got a CRB benefit, you would be looking at paying at the end of the year. If you got CRB and you also had other employment income or other income in the year, you would be looking at paying close to 25% because no taxes has been deducted on those. Let's talk about when you have two jobs, okay? When you have two jobs, one part-time, one full-time, or you have switched from one job to the other, how would you have to fill out a form to make sure that proper taxes are being deducted? So when you start a new job, there are two forms that your employer mostly gives out. One is the TD1, which is the federal version, and the other one is the TD1AB, which is the provincial version. Now it has an amount. It used to have an amount on the top here, but it doesn't have that amount anymore. But it does tell you that put 13,229 here if you don't have any other employment of your, or if your income is going to be less than 150,000. So what you're telling your employer is that if you're filling an amount here of 13,229, you're basically telling your employer that this is the only job I have. Please do not deduct taxes on the first 13,229. In provincial case, it's 19,000. So don't deduct provincial taxes on the first 19,000. It doesn't mean they're not going to deduct tax on the first 19,000. They're going to spread it out over the year and not deduct taxes accordingly. But if you have a second job, or if you have a part-time job, or if you move from one job to the other in the middle of the year, you would have to make sure that you're crossing this amount for the provincial and for the federal both. You're crossing this amount and you're putting zero. So you would put zero in here, which means that you had another job where you already used that credit, so you cannot use that credit anymore in the second job. And you're gonna put zero here at the bottom, which is the total 13, number 13, which is the total claim amount. On provincial one, it's number 11, you'll put zero. And on the second page, there is a box which says, if more than one employer, please check this box. So that's where you would be checking that box that says that I have more than one employer. And same thing on the federal form. There is a box here on the top, more than one employer. You would be crossing those boxes to make sure you're telling your employer, this is my second job, or this is my part-time job, and I want that taxes to be deducted so that I don't end up paying taxes at the end of the year. This year is different. We have a lot of individuals who got CERB benefits. No taxes were deducted. So be prepared. You would be paying 25% tax on those benefits. There were sickness, there were caregiver, there were layoff, there were some job loss. Those benefits, the EI benefits that you got, maybe the EI had deducted only 10-15% taxes, but again, you would be looking at a minimum of 25% tax at the end of the year. How can you minimize paying those taxes? You can act now, put some money set aside for RRSP. If you put money into RRSP, that will work as a deduction in your income tax, and you would be looking at paying lesser in income tax in March of next year. The other thing as well, if you have taken money out from your RRSP, your bank will only withheld 10% on the first 5,000. The RRSP withdrawal exceeding 5,000 and up to 15,000, they will only be deducting 20% tax. And again, from 15,000 and over, they will be deducting 30% tax. So if you had taken out, for example, $5,000, your bank had only withheld 10%, which is $500, but you would be at a minimum of 25% tax bracket, or 30% or 32% for some, 30.5% for some. So you would be looking at paying that difference when we file your income tax. So those are the reason why you actually end up paying taxes. It's not always a tax refund. People actually end up paying taxes, and this year, more than other years, people will be paying a lot of taxes this year because of those benefits where no taxes were withheld. The only way you can minimize that right now, we still have about 3 months left. You have until the end of February to put money into your RSP, which will work as a deduction in your income tax, and that will help you not to pay so much in taxes. If you have any question about anything else, you can reach out to me. Just briefly, I would say why people get a refund. People get a refund when they have a lot of credits. Let's say children are going into daycare, or you have tuition fee tax credit, you have a spouse who's staying home and taking care of the children, or you have a spouse who's working, who's studying, and you can use those tuition fees to get some credits on your income tax. So those are the reason why you should be looking at a refund. But this year, if you got CRB, if you got CERB, then that means you would be looking at paying taxes. The other thing as well, you won't be able to use any of your daycare expenses if you are solely on CRB benefit, because daycare expenses can only be claimed from working income. If you had CERB, CRB, EI, maternity, or parental benefit, those are all non-work income. Those are all benefits that you got, and the daycare expenses or childcare expenses cannot be claimed against those incomes. So there are a lot of less. It's going to be a lot less credits this year because of that CERB and CRB benefits. So I ask you to put some money away for put some money into RRSP so that it can help you when we are filing your income tax next year. You can call me in sometimes in January or early February to find out how much you can put into RSP and how much you would be benefited, because by that time you would have all the tax slips. You'll have your T4, you'll have the EI slips, which is the T4E, and then we can look at that and see, how much you should be putting to save in your income tax. Roughly, if you put $1,000 into your RSP, if you're on a lower tax bracket, you would be saving $250. If you're on a middle tax bracket, maybe you're earning 50,000 and over, you would be looking at about saving about $305. So $1,000 would get you about $300 in your income tax refund, or reduce your income by $300 less is what you would be paying if you have to pay taxes to the government. If you have any question, please do ask in the message below, or reach out to us by email, info@mhufinancial.com. Our website has a lot more resources available as well, www.mhufinancial.com. And we would try to post videos every week on different topics, so that we help you to get prepared for your for your income tax filing. And by helping you, we're actually helping ourselves because you will be prepared when it comes to filing your taxes. So if you like this video, please do share, like, and I will see you next time. Thank you.